Hi there. I don't usually make YouTube videos, but I just started playing Valheim and I noticed there's not a whole lot of information out there. So I thought I'd start with a little bit of a tutorial for people just getting started and hopefully clear up any confusion out there. For this tutorial I'm going to start a new world and a new character. I hope to make more complicated videos in the future and include some clips with friends as well. If you'd be interested or have any questions for those future videos, please leave them in the comments below. Alright, when you first get into a world, you start in the center of your summoning platform. You have a little bit of your map uncovered, and you're going to have these tutorial birds. These pop up all the time and are going to be very useful. I'll let you read those on your own for the most part, but basically what you need to know is the first boss is going to be the sacrificial stone. And you're going to notice these round symbols are going to tell you where the bosses are on the map. So as you can see on the map, currently the only thing we have is our summoning platform. We hit here, and we can see where the boss is. When we start our first home, we're going to want it to be somewhere near here. Now, first thing we're going to do is get some wood, just like in Minecraft. And you start by punching trees. The only way to get trees early is these little ones, but as soon as we get our axe going, we'll be able to chop down some of the bigger trees. Additionally, you can pick up wood on the ground that you see. The other thing you want to look for on the ground is going to be stones. In Valheim, you have two things. You have your health bar over here and your stamina bar, and both are going to be tied to food. It's going to be important to get food going early. The first types of food are going to be raspberries and mushrooms. So these are some of the mushrooms. It's important to grab as many as possible because they'll also be used for recipes later in the game. So as I've eaten one, you open your inventory and you right click. You can only eat 3 things at a time and not more than one of the same item. So you can see in my stomach right now I have a mushroom, but my health is going to raise above 25 and I now have extra stamina. Here are the first raspberry bushes I've found. After collecting them, and you'll want quite a few of these too, you again right click. It adds the second thing to your food bar and my health is going to go up and my stamina goes up again. Going through the world, there's going to be some randomly generated structures, and often they'll have a chest in them. Usually the chests suck. This one has 4 flint and 8 gold. The flint will be useful, as we're going to use it to make early tools, but you'll see very quickly that it's in a lot of places. Here's the second building with a chest up top. Now I've made it to the first boss platform. After reading this bird's message, you'll notice I went straight here, and this is a place near where I want to set up. You can read these things for flavor. Around there will be other stones you can read as well. Now, when deciding to set up my first base, I'd like to put it close to the second biome. In this game, each biome correlates to the next level of difficulty. On my main character, I'm up to the 4th biome. But the second biome is where we'll start. So it's going to be hard to find it. I'm just going to search along the map. But the main reason I want to put my first home near that second biome is that there's going to be a lot of metal ore to mine. I've come up to the top of this mountain, and I can see in the distance these pine trees, which means the second biome. I'm going to put my house up over there. We'll see on the map that there's going to be a different section, and also the first time Black Forest will pop up, and then in the future, up here, it says Black Forest on the map. He's going to give me a warning saying that I shouldn't be here this early, and he's probably right. But I'd like to be close to here to set up my house. So, to start with the house, we're going to craft a hammer. I've also crafted a stone axe, as we're going to need lots of wood to start building a house. With an axe, I can now chop peach trees. Be careful when chopping, as the tree trunks will fall down and could hurt you. As you can see, a basic enemy is spawned, but you can take them out without too much difficulty. Once you've chopped the tree, just continue chopping the log. It'll break into sections and then finally into usable wood. Alright, now that I have 22 wood, I can get a basic start. For the first time, this mushroom has started to flash, which means it's ready for me to eat a new one. My health is going to increase, and my stamina is going to go back as well. Building in this game can be pretty cool. The first thing you want to do whenever you start building is start with a workbench. The workbench is going to be what your house is based upon. However, the game is very forgiving in letting you reconstruct, so you can always tear something down and start new. In order to use a workbench, you'll need to put a roof over it, but this one is just my starting one. I'm going to start the beginning of my house by building a couple of floors. Next, I'm going to start with walls and put a roof over them. Next, I can simply deconstruct this table, pick up the wood that I used to build it, and put the new workbench in. Once you've put walls inside, you can open up the workbench and you begin to gain access to more and more things. A flint axe would be a good place to start, but we haven't gathered enough flint yet. Usually it's located by the river. Once at the river, it's time to start looking for flint. It's simple on the ground, and it's good at picking up other things. Once you interact with it, you can pick it up. Now we can additionally start looking for food, so using my axe, I can start to fight the necks. As soon as I get my campfire going, these will be cooked and then used for food. Next, when planning a house, there's several things you'll want to keep in mind. You'll need space for the workbench, you'll need space for the forge in the future, but early on you'll need a bed and a campfire. You can't put the campfire inside the house without proper ventilation, so I like to put it on the outside of the house. Alright, now that I've gathered some wood, I'm going to build my first basic house. Alright, my house still needs some work to get all of the walls on, but I put the campfire on the outside with the bed nearby. Once it starts raining, I can hide inside the house to stay dry, as you need to be dry to sleep. The smoke is now outside of the house, and I've added a cooking station on top, so I can start to cook necktails, and I'll start to have some real food. It's going to be important when cooking to stay nearby, as you'll hear a pop when it's ready, and if you leave it on too long, it'll turn into coal. Alright, I now have 4 types of food total, and I can only eat 3. I'm going to start by eating the necktail, and you'll realize that my health goes up significantly, as eating meat is much better. The first night is falling, and while my house is not complete, I do have my bed by a fire, which allows me to fall asleep here. This will pass the night. More monsters tend to spawn at night, which can prove to be detrimental, especially early on. The highest priorities early on are to be making a crude bow, as you won't have much armor or weapons that do much damage, but a bow can easily be used to kite enemies. This will be very important for getting deer and for killing the first boss. With this first hut complete, I'm going to jump over to my other world so I can show you what a more completed house will begin to look like, so you know in terms of space what you'll need to do. I'll give you guys a quick run through of the first boss fight, and then we'll go into the Black Forest to show you what to look for there. Alright, this is the first home I created in Valheim. As you can see, it has a wall to go around it, which proved to be very useful as sometimes raids will come. Outside I have my cooking area. I've created more fires. You'll need at least 2, but 3 would probably be recommended. I have chests around outside for food. Inside of the house, you'll have your workbench, and you'll need additional things around the workbench to level it up. You'll see these as you get new recipes. But, just so you know what to expect, things like a tanning rack, a chopping block, ads are important for later. By leveling up your rack, you can unlock new recipes and also upgrade your current things to higher levels. You can see your workbench quality here, and on the right side you'll have your repair option. Repairing in Valheim does not require any resources, so once you've created your highest quality weapon or tool, you can repair it at the workstation or the forge in the future. Additionally, you'll eventually end up crafting a forge. The forge will require a large charcoal kiln and a smelter. These are out of use as I no longer use this space. I've moved my location, but just to give you an example of how big they are. Additionally, there'll be other things to upgrade your forge, so having more space is going to be beneficial. Other than that, we have beds off to the side, we have some chests here, and up on a second floor, we have even more chests. This ended up being quite a bit of space, so this house size was a little bit bigger than was necessary, but the expansion over here ended up being an important one. One thing we did not have room for in the main house was the portal room. In here, we have our bottom portal, and additionally, we have more portals up top. The portals become important after the Black Forest, but having these in your main house would be a good thing to plan for. You can see how much room they take up. You could stack them more, but you do need to step into them. So having a nice big portal room would be a benefit in most houses. Here we are at the first boss fight. To start it, you're going to need 2 deer trophies. Starting off, you want to be killing all of the boar and deers that you can. You're going to be using the deer hide and the leather scraps throughout most of the mid-game. The trophies will drop on occasion, but you tend to end up with way more than you need. You simply take them up to the altar and offer them. This is how you're going to summon all of the bosses, although what you're sacrificing will change. The music will start and you'll see the sparks start to get around where the first boss is. Now, early on, you're going to be using your bow and kiting him around. I have an upgraded bow, so this fight is going to be much quicker than normal. And also, I have enough armor to go through with just a sword. Once you've defeated him, he's going to drop several important things. I have the trophy, and you get horn. The horn is going to be used to make a pickaxe, which is going to allow you to access metal for the first time. It only takes 1 horn and 10 wood, I believe. Additionally, you're going to get a trophy. This trophy you'll use to unlock a boss power. Once you hit F, you'll activate it, and for 5 minutes, you'll have decreased stamina use while running and jumping. You can see down here your 20-minute timer until you can use the power again, and up here your buff. Constantly throughout this game, you'll want to be eating, as your max health can go well above 100 when using proper foods. If I were eating only berries and mushrooms, it would be much smaller, but you'll begin to gain access to later game items with cooking, such as sausages, cooked meat, which you have access to early, carrot soup, and jam. Once you're at the starting platform, you will take the head and put it on the statue, which will give you access to the power. From there, you can go to the next boss, and you can read what they do. I will cover the second boss in my next video. To conclude this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to the Black Forest. When looking at the map, you can see what it looks like here, as opposed to the normal meadows. As you enter the Black Forest, once again, you'll notice once the trees change, and you can notice it on the map. It will also say in the top right corner that Black Forest is the new biome. Again, going through each biome, you'll want to be gathering most of the resources. The ones you'll want here are blueberries and the blue flowers, which I forget the name of. There's 2 main things you're looking for in the Black Forest as far as ores go. Tin ore and copper ore. Tin ore spawns only on the coast, while copper ore spawns inside of rocks. But you'll notice going through that there will be big rocks around. Some of these will have copper. This is an example of a big rock. This one has no copper in it. When you put your cursor on top of the rock, you'll be able to see copper ore pop up. In addition, there'll be copper veins on the rock. Tin ore is fairly common on the coastline. When you put your mouse over it, it'll say tin ore. You'll take your pickaxe, and you'll pick up the tin ore. Now, important things to know about all ore is that it's very heavy and it cannot be teleported. This is why it's best to put your first home near a black forest so that you can take many trips back full of ore. This is a copper deposit. Like with the tin, you just smash it until it breaks. You'll see the copper veins along the rock, and when you put your mouse on it, it will say copper deposit. The annoying thing about a copper deposit is it will also put lots of stone in your inventory, filling up your weight, so you'll need to be constantly dropping stone out. Copper ore has similar characteristics to tin, as it can't be teleported and is still extremely heavy. You need quite a bit of these early metals for weapons, armor, and other things early in the game, so that's why it's important to have a house close by. These are the main type of enemies, Grey Dwarfs. They can also come in other varieties such as brutes or shamans. They tend to spawn in groups, and you'll also find spawners located throughout. Here is a spawner. As you can see, we have a shaman. He will attempt to poison and can also heal. It's important to kill these spawners early because they drop something used for the second boss. You will need 3 of these ancient seeds to summon the second boss. This is a troll. Early on, you'll want to be fighting trolls, mainly with bows from afar. However, once you outscale the area, you can just use a sword and shield. You'll want to be careful when trolls get near your house, as they do lots of damage to buildings. When killing a troll, you will get troll hide, coins, and sometimes a troll trophy. This will wrap up my first video. Hopefully this can get you started with the first boss fight and getting your home situated for the future. In future videos, I'll have additional details about progressing further into the game, as well as some tips. Future videos I'll have more friends along, as it's very helpful to have more players. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and I'll either try to address them through the comment section or just address them in future videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned a lot.